I have a brand new strategy update for Tick Pulse V12 NQ E-mini NASDAQ day trade strategy. It will be Tick Pulse 2022 NQ, and I'm going to go over the updates for this strategy. We had a limit band reject, I believe, on a short trade right. Let me show you where that short trade is, right here. So the short trade, once you get a signal, you sell at the close plus half a point, plus 0.5. And so a lot of our strategies do limit band check. So if we sell it at a resistance level above the close, we check to see if the resistance level is above the close. But on something like this, you can't really do a limit band check, close plus half a point, if the market's moving that fast. And so we are just changing this to a market order. We get better results in the back test with the market order. So we're going to go with the market order and forget the limit order on this strategy setup for now. For this most recent update, always researching the strategies, and so that is the basis for this update, was the limit band reject, and fixing that. You would have had to manually re-enter, and maybe you did, or maybe you did not manually re-enter into that trade, but this is the latest version right here. And so we're going to go over the updates. There are 7 updates, and I've listed them right here. We're using a market order instead of a limit order. So there's a limit order input. If you set that to, it's set to false now instead of true. And so I'm going to show you that in a minute. And the inputs can be used, but this version now uses a market order by default. And if you have Tick Pulse V12, we'll send this to you. It's included in the stock index portfolio. Add WaitBarReEntry and BarsToWait. And so when the WaitBar's reentry is set to true, which it is by default now, the strategy will wait BarsToWait, number of bars, before re-entering the trade. So I've set this to true, and I set it to 5 bars, which is 5 minutes. So oftentimes we're getting stopped out and re-entered on the same bar, and there is some code that I added so it won't do that. And you can make it wait 1 bar, you can make it wait 10 bars, you can make it wait 15 bars. By default, I make it wait 5 bars after an exit. So an aggressive strategy like this will have the tendency to re-enter too quickly. And so in a fast market with a tight stop loss like this, you don't want to just fire trades off too rapidly. So it slows it down a little bit and reduces the number of trades. And so 2 parameters for the long side were optimized: Tick Pulse long and L1 long. I'm not a huge fan of optimization. When I went back and looked at this, only the short side was profitable, which is interesting. If you backtest this in 2007 on the original parameters, only the short side was profitable. And so what I did is I looked at the most recent year, the last 12 months, from 6/22/2021 to 6/22/2022, and I ran an optimization of Tick Pulse long and L1 long, and the results were 275 and 25, and I just set it on long only and turned the shorts off, ran the optimization, and the old parameters were 150 and 30. And after I ran the optimization, I tested it all the way back to 2007, and the results were nice. And so you can see this equity curve. There's not a lot of, it's kind of flatline until about 2016, into 2016 or even 2014. The index levels are lower back here, and so it doesn't make as much sense. So and so it accelerates this at higher index levels. So having the long side profitable now helps the strategy, and we also added some optional exit strategies inputs that we started adding with tick reversal. And so I'll show you all the inputs in a minute, inputs and data settings in a minute. I changed the finish times to 1530 Eastern Standard Time instead of 1600. So we'll stop taking entries 30 minutes before the close, and then we exit 3 minutes before the close instead of right at the cash close. You get that 4 p.m. traffic jam where the market moves really fast and you don't get a fill right away. And so we want to avoid that traffic jam of orders. We've also changed the symbol to @NQ instead of @NQ.D, and we're using the US stock custom session. And so we don't have to worry about the .D symbol on this one anymore. It's a 1-minute chart. And so I'm going to go over the input and data settings and performance summary now. Here is the equity curve. Here is the performance going back to 2007 with $25 round turn slippage and commission, $124 average trade profit, $11,850 drawdown, which is nice in a NASDAQ strategy with a $600 stop loss, which is pretty tight. We may need to adjust that in the future, but it is working really well right now, so we are sticking with that. And you see the long side trades, you see the short side trades. The long side is a little more profitable, it's a little more selective. So let's look at the input settings. So here are the inputs. You can trade a different set of contracts for the long or the short side. We don't trade on holidays. We don't use any of these special money management rules here on this. It's possible those could work. I didn't get a chance to test those yet. I wanted to release this as soon as possible. You can literally spend a month just researching one strategy, and we have many to work through. So limit order, we set that to false now instead of true. Wait bars reentry, I said it was at 5, it's 10 actually. We're waiting 10 bars, and I'm going to go back and check that and make sure. After I make this video, I might realize it was supposed to be 5 and I tested it at 10. So when you receive this update, you'll have the right result, and so we'll take a look at that. We don't use the VWAP filter, we don't use VIX filter longs, we don't use VIX filter shorts. PTS long, that is the limit order amount. So if you use a limit order, it will enter at the close minus this number on a limit. It will enter the shorts on close plus that number on a limit, and that was 0.5. And so it was too close, and the market moved too fast, and we get that limit band reject. And so these are the numbers we had. This was 150, and it's now 275 for the longs. These are not used unless one of the range filters, VIX threshold longs lower, and VIX use VIX filter shorts is true. And so we just use these first two, 275 and 150, and we don't use that because it's false up there. The parameter for VIX filter is false. L1 is 25 instead of 30. On the long side, it's 30 on the short side. And we start 5 minutes after the open, 9:35 Eastern, and you go through 15:30, 30 minutes before the cash close for entries, and exit 3 minutes before the cash close. And we get the exit on close set to true for back testing. Stop loss is $600 on the first bar for longs and shorts. And all these other exit inputs that we've added could be tested. I haven't had a chance to test those yet either. And so those could be tested and could potentially improve this strategy setup. So that is Tick Pulse 2022 NASDAQ new strategy release. Hey, David Bean here. Welcome to Capstone Trading Systems YouTube page. Be sure to subscribe to join our community of algorithmic traders. We are real money traders. We share our winning streaks, we share our losing streaks, as well as market updates, strategies, and coding tips.